Welcome to my updated 2021 guide for the FiLMiC Pro app, and that starts right now. Hey, it's Ryan. Thanks for being here. This channel is all about learning and growing as a filmmaker. So please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's become better filmmakers together. You know, one of the most popular and my personal favorite app for shooting video with my mobile phone is the FiLMiC Pro app. This app has been around for a while, and it just seems to get better and better with every new iPhone that is released, taking advantage of the new power and the new features all along the way. And of course, since the release of the new iPhone 12, FiLMiC Pro has updated their app to take advantage of the new hardware. So I thought that now would be a great time to go over the new features and updates that have been added to FiLMiC Pro over the past few months and redo an in-depth tutorial and overview so that we can get the most out of this amazing app. But before we get started, if you would like to unlock exclusive early access to videos, perks, members-only live streams, and much more, you can help support this channel by becoming a channel member. Just click the join button up at the top to find out more. Okay guys, with all of that out of the way, let's get started on our in-depth tutorial and overview for version 6 of the FiLMiC Pro app. And I'll see you guys back here to wrap up. This is the FiLMiC Pro app. Version 6.13.3 of the app boasts several new features, including full support for 10-bit SDR capture with optimized curves to iPhone 12 series devices. Log version 2 has now been upgraded to log version 3 when recording to 10-bit to get the most dynamic range possible. The library and imaging panel has been updated to display your currently selected bit depth. Zebra and clipping analytics now use an identical threshold. And saturation and vibrancy sliders are now available in the CineKit in-app purchase and have been optimized for 10-bit capture for iPhone 12 series devices only. Now that we've seen the new features that have been added, let's start this in-depth tutorial by going over the app's interface so that we better know our way around. We will be going over the interface layout with the device sitting horizontally. And remember, this overview is focused on using the FiLMiC Pro app specifically with iPhone devices. In the top left corner of the screen, you will see 2 letters and a number right below it. This is called the encoder enclave. In this case, the FE stands for FiLMiC Extreme Encoding, and the 75M right below it is the projected recording time. Below that, on the bottom left of the screen, we should see a readout that tells us the color temperature of what is currently in frame. To the right of the color temperature, we'll see the imaging panel button. Pulling up this menu allows us to set white balance, tone, color behavior, saturation, and vibrance. This is also where you can set a color profile like the new log version 3, which is included in the CineKit, an optional add-on for the app. Here we can tap the AWB button to lock white balance or have it auto lock when recording. And with this button, we can reset any changes that we've made. To the right of the imaging panel, we see the Show Hide Manual Controls button. One tap of this button will open or close the manual controls. We can also swipe in from the left or right to pull the manual control sliders out as well. We will go over these manual sliders in more detail a bit later. To the right of the manual controls button, we have the Show Hide Live Analytics options. Pressing this button will display a new menu at the top of your screen with various live analytics overlays to help with exposure optimization. These options include zebra stripes, which shows red stripes for overexposed areas and blue stripes for underexposed areas. Clipping, red shows overexposed and blue shows underexposed. False color, green is good, red indicates overexposure, and blue indicates underexposure. And focus peaking. Light blue indicates areas of focus, and green indicates that the target is in critical focus. At the bottom center of the screen, we see the time code medallion. This, of course, shows us recording time, It also displays current frames per second and aspect ratio. We also see a battery level icon and an icon displaying current remaining memory space on our device. You can also tap this medallion to cycle histograms to better read the color information of your current image. And you can drag your finger left and right on the medallion to adjust audio gain level. In the center of the screen, you should see two white reticles, a square reticle for focus and a round reticle that controls exposure. You can drag these reticles around the screen to tell the app where to focus or which part of the image you'd like to expose for properly. Tapping either reticle once will turn it red and lock it in place. It's usually a good idea to lock the reticles before recording, otherwise the image will be adjusting while you're filming. If we double tap the focus reticle, it will enable autofocus mode with center weighted focus. This will allow the app to constantly change focus, great for vlogging or live filming where you want the focus to shift often. Double tapping the exposure reticle will enable full frame exposure sampling. To the right of the timecode medallion, we see the settings menu. You can tap anywhere away from the settings menu to go back up to the higher menu level. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory, but we will go over them all briefly here. Starting at the top left, we have the resolution menu. Here we can choose our resolution up to 4K on new iPhone devices. And we can set our codec. This is where you can enable the new 10-bit recording and Dolby Vision HDR recording allowed on iPhone 12 devices. Next, we have the frame rate menu. Here we can of course set our frame rate. I'm usually filming in 24 FPS for more cinematic quality video. Here you can also set a higher frame rate if you're looking to get some slow motion shots. I recommend setting a matching capture and playback rate when going for slow motion and modifying your footage later in your editing program of choice. If you'd like to know more about shooting slow motion footage with FiLMiC Pro, I have a dedicated video for that here on the channel that I will link to. Do note that some picture profiles and resolutions are not available at some of the higher frame rates, so keep that in mind. The frame rate menu is where you can also find settings for time-lapse recording. Just set the desired increments, and when you hit the record button, the app will start filming a time-lapse sequence. Next, let's look at the audio menu. Here you can choose which microphone you are using, set the audio file type, sample rate, and set up a Bluetooth microphone. I usually record my audio separately on an external recorder. Next is the device menu. Here you can set things like if you'd like to save your files to your phone's camera roll, set up a remote control, lock the orientation, and much more. Next is the presets menu. Here you can select and create presets based on your current settings. I would recommend having at least one preset for cinematic high-quality video and another preset for the highest quality slow motion footage your device can muster. Here you have the CMS menu. This is basically a way to help organize your project's footage by assigning take and scene numbers to each shot you capture. This is very handy for larger productions. Next up is the hardware menu. FiLMiC Pro works alongside a lot of different types of hardware like gimbals and anamorphic adapters. Here you can tell the app what, if any, of the supported hardware you are using alongside the app. There is also a new option called Clean HDMI Out, which allows streamers to use their phone in FiLMiC Pro as a great high-definition webcam for live streaming. Next is the FiLMiC Sync login. If you create an account here, it basically allows integration to store preset data in the cloud and you can share it between different devices. Community is basically links to FiLMiC Pro's social and web channels. First Light is a link to buy FiLMiC Pro First Light, a new photo app for FiLMiC Pro. But we are a filmmaking channel, so I'm going to skip this for now. The stabilization option is pretty simple. It turns on and off image stabilization within the app, helping to ease shaky footage. Camera is an important option. This allows you to select between the different cameras built into your device. And you'll notice an option for the new double take feature, which allows capturing from two of your phone's cameras at once. Double take is actually a separate app from FiLMiC Pro, but this is a really cool feature that I'd recommend you check out. Torch turns on your device's built-in light to varying degrees. Guide turns on the rule of thirds filming guide for your screen. And information has links to the quick start guides, app support, and version information. Whew, okay. Now that these settings are out of the way, to the right of the settings you'll see the Library Player button. Here you can access any clips that you've taken, sort them, transfer them, trim them, share, and delete them. Just tap a clip to bring up more options like trimming. You can also select multiple clips at once for when you really want to give your collection the Thanos snap and get rid of lots of clips at one time. You can even AirPlay them to watch on other devices like smart TVs. Beside of that, of course, we have the record button. Pretty self-explanatory. When this button is red, that means that you are currently recording. Just tap to start and stop. Above the record button, you'll see the zoom rocker. This allows you to zoom like a conventional video camera. Push up to zoom in, pull back to zoom out. The color change from green to red lets you know how much quality you are losing the closer you zoom in, with red being the worst and green being the best quality. And to the right of the zoom rocker, we see the audio level panel, which helps us gauge audio levels and audio peaking. Now that we've covered the interface, let's take a look at how to use the manual control sliders. The manual control sliders are arguably the most important feature for professional filmmaking that FiLMiC Pro offers to creators. These sliders allow you to fine-tune your image and, along with the live analytics, help you achieve the best results. Remember that you can pull out these sliders by swiping in on either side of the screen or by tapping the manual control button that we covered earlier. On the left side of the screen, we have the exposure arc slider. You can use your left thumb to adjust the exposure. Note that if the analytic options are displayed, adjusting exposure will automatically apply the zebra stripes overlay. The second window here is the exposure adjustment panel. The top section displays the current ISO setting and the bottom section displays the current shutter speed setting. You'll notice that when you are adjusting the slider arc, that these values will be adjusted as well. If you tap one of the exposure values, it will turn red and be locked. This will allow you to set specific ISO or shutter speeds. When a value is locked, the arc slider will only adjust the unlocked value. The horizontal slider that sits in between the ISO and shutter speed values is an ISO priority slider. Slide this left or right to set an ISO range that you'd like your exposure to conform to. Okay, now let's look at the focus arc slider, located on the right side of the screen. You can use your right thumb to set focus by moving the slider. Note that if the analytics options are displayed, the focus peaking overlay will be automatically applied. In this second window, we see the Focus Zoom mode selector. Tap to switch the right arc slider from zoom to focus mode. In zoom mode, the right arc slider will allow you to fine-tune a zoom operation and set pull points for the zoom. Finally, let's go over an advanced feature of the arc sliders, the pull-to-point slider control. The app will allow you to program automation to set pulls for focus, exposure, and zoom. This will work on either the left or right arc, depending on what you're wanting to automate. The bold white line in the middle of the arc is the current value. Tap this line to have the nearest pull point automatically adjust to this setting. Repeat the process to dial in and set the second setting. Just tap either point to have the app automatically pull to that point. You can adjust the speed of the pull movement by pulling in from either the left or right side of the screen to expose the pull speed slider. You can also try to adjust the speed of the slider while the app is performing an automated pull event as a way to create some unique pull looks with custom ramp speeds. That pretty much covers everything that I know about version 6 of the FiLMiC Pro app. Before we go, take a look at a short piece that I put together using my iPhone 12 Pro Max and the FiLMiC Pro tools and features that were covered in this video. And there you have it, guys. Everything that you should need to know to start capturing amazing looking video with your iPhone and the FiLMiC Pro app. If you think there's something that I missed covering in regards to the FiLMiC Pro app, or if you have a suggestion to help make the app better, please leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to address everything. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it very beneficial, and if you did, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for coming along on this filmmaking journey with me. I am Ryan, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.